I don't like talking about myself because I've spent a lot of time building up an image of myself as being a positive individual and someone who is, while I give you bits and pieces of my traumas that I've experienced and how I've processed them, um, I don't really share them from the perspective of a person still living in it. And the reason is just thought of a joke. I'm sorry. Humor is a coping mechanism for me. So whenever I'm sad, I think it reminds me of something because I used to watch a lot of comedy specials as a teenager to help me cope with my depression. Because laughter has always been my comfort zone. Um, yeah. And the joke that I had thought of was that shit. What was it? I forget. Shit, I forgot what I was gonna say. See, this is also another symptom of the depression, the forgetfulness, um, sleepiness, just always feeling tired and exhausted no matter what you do. And I have, you know what? My thyroid medication is off. I come to think of it too. Yeah, I have hypothyroidism, so that also contributes to my depression as well too. So this is reminding me that I probably need to up my dose because I've been skipping my doses because I've been very forgetful, and that's contributing to that as well. I would be in therapy right now, but I don't have health insurance right now, so y'all are gonna have to do. Function. Fortunately for me, I'm functional enough, and I'm praying that I'm gonna be able to do something soon that I will be able to get the money so I can get a qualified, decent therapist to work with, in addition to my own personal spiritual practices, because I need that. Like, I really, really need a space where I can get the coping mechanisms because I'm extremely hard on myself. I beat myself up a lot. Um, and that comes from being a first generation child of immigrants. Um, I don't know if any of you guys have seen the Yvonne Orgy thing, uh, where she's talking about how her parents were talking about, she had to have a certain level of grades and stuff, and that was pretty much the expectation in my household. My mother did the best that she could as a single mother. At the end of the day, she was a single Caribbean Jamaican mother working her ass off to ascend to various heights, which is where I get my drive from because I'm modeling myself after her. No matter even if as much as I try not to, I am a mother's child. Um, so there would be times it's just like, hey, you get a 96 and it's like, well, where's the other 4 points? Kind of on a jokingly thing, like, you could have got the full 100 and everything. And she didn't know any better. Because I remember I told my husband a story. She's like, what? That's terrible. I'm like, nah. My mother drove into me the idea and the outcome of excellence, which she did not get into me. And I had to learn because she had to learn it as well. She hadn't learned it herself, was the idea of grace. Um, so I am only now learning to extend myself grace. But because of that, I'm hypercritical of myself and the things around me. Like right now, my hair is standing up, which is why I keep messing with it because my hair is in the ugly phase. This is now the time that I would typically cut my hair off and blame it on, my thoughts needing room to grow. In reality, it's not doing what I want it to do. And I need to feel a sense of control. So I do this a lot. But then I just end up looking like alfalfa. Which is why periodically I'll just throw it in weave just so that way I won't have to look at it and I won't have to just go, I hate my fucking hair. So there's that. That's not what I was going to talk about, but I guess the reason why I'm struggling to make this video is because I'm not being honest. And the honest to God truth is that I struggle to live. I have a lot to be grateful for. I push myself for achievement. to reach a certain level of wealth, which is why I had the discussion with y'all that I did yesterday, where I was talking about capitalism basically feeds off of trauma and fuels trauma. It's kind of like a Ouroboros, because the only reason why I'm pursuing the wealth that I am is so that I can invest in my community the way that I want to do, so that I can feel like I did something with my life, and that I don't just, so I can feel like I matter, right? I know that's the big thing. Black lives matter, Black lives matter, but it's not even just Black lives matter. It's, I need to feel like I left this world better than when I entered it. And I also feel like I want to be remembered by people, which is why I go out of my way to do the things that I do in people's lives, so that I can know that I had some kind of effect. People won't forget me. I have this thing about being forgotten. It's fucking weird. But I know I'm not the only one, because I actually bonded with one of my friends over that fear. So, this is me not wanting to be forgotten. Most days, even though I am married, all the things that they tell you you're supposed to love and that are supposed to make you happy as a woman. I am married. I have 3 small children that come to me for a lot. And go to their dad for a lot too. Not as much. You'll see any woman will usually complain that they tend to go more towards mom than dad. And they come to me for a lot. And I'm an introvert. And I'm an introvert because I have low energy. And it's very difficult for me to dole out that energy to small children every single day. And it's even harder to do that plus dole out energy to be with my husband. And then it's even harder to dole that energy out to be with myself. And then it's even harder to clean and cook and all of these things. Even though I post these pictures of me cooking and all that other stuff, this is when I get into those phases where I feel up to cooking. Because there's some days where I'm just like, fuck, I don't feel like doing shit. Like, getting out of the bed is a chore in and of itself. Like, some days I feel like I deserve an award just for getting out of bed. Because if it was up to me, I'd be under the covers all day. But I fight every day to get out of bed, right? One of the things that allowed me to get out of bed was the fact that I found writing and talking the way that I'm talking to you now. But outside of that, my kids ain't the reason why I get up out of bed every day. My husband ain't the reason why I get out of bed every day. It's because I found some kind of purpose in writing and speaking. That's why I get out of bed every day. Not my ancestors, not God, not nothing else. That is literally why I get out of bed every fucking day. And I haven't been able to write in the past 2 weeks because I damn near fucked my wrists up and developed carpal tunnel because my ass was trying to finish this book way quicker than I should have, writing fucking 7,000 words a day, trying to prove something to somebody. And no, I'm not fucking trying to kill myself no more, trying to prove that I am worthy of existing. I'm done with that shit. Yeah, I want to be remembered, but I don't feel like I need to kill myself to do it anymore. Strangely enough, as depressed as I feel, I actually do love myself now more than I ever have at any point in time. I love myself enough to get therapy. I love myself enough to talk about what's bothering me, even if people don't really want to hear it, because it has to come out. And if I try to keep it all in and solve it all myself, that's where I start running into these problems that I was facing before. And that's what Goldman was talking about in the Great Depression, is that he was afraid to talk about it because there's a stigma in society that, you're crazy. But again, we don't want to hear about it because everybody's going through it. And we all want to be distracted. And there's some of us that are not content with being distracted. There's some of us can't be distracted. There's only so much television you can watch, only so many books you can read, only so much sex you can have, only so much drugs you can take, only so much alcohol you can drink before it's just like life doesn't stop until you die. And that is fucking difficult to come to terms with. So it's like every day you need some kind of stick or some kind of thing to go. Like if you came to my house now, you would see that it is the bare minimum of clean. Like I get so embarrassed when people come to my house because it's just like I know what clean is supposed to look like. At the end of the day, I'm Jamaican and cleanliness is next to godliness for my people. And if my grandmother were alive and she saw my house, she would pitch a fucking fit. But there are most days I don't even feel like cleaning. I know I need the house to be clean. I know I need these things. I don't feel like cleaning. Like my kids will sweep up and they do, they clean the way that kids clean. My husband will go ahead and clean, but he cleans the clutter and stuff like that. But like the actual cleaning, deep cleaning the way that I know my house is supposed to be clean, I don't got the energy for that shit. I barely have the energy to get out of bed. I know people who say like, oh, you need to exercise. Oh, you need to do yoga. Nigga, I don't even feel like getting out of bed. How the fuck am I going to do yoga? How the fuck am I going to exercise and I can't get out of bed? Like, it's a fucking miracle that I've lost the weight that I have. Because I was 220 about 2 years ago, right? I am now in the 170s. I'm at 176 right now, and I actually shot up 4 pounds because I realized that I was feeling in a depressed mode, and instead of checking it, I decided to give into it, give into the repressed eating, because it's like a thought in my head, like you need to eat something, you need to eat something, you need to eat something, and it was just hard to say no, so I just gave into that shit. Versus what I would normally do is I set restrictions and I'll do like intermittent fasting, and that's like a way for me to manage the feelings and so on. But some days it's easier to say, some days it's harder to say no than others, just being honest, right? So I give myself some grace on that. Like tomorrow I'll be right back on my schedule and regimen. But even doing that was fucking difficult in and of itself. Then to turn around and try to get up and exercise, it's like I only have energy for so many things a day. And if I try to exercise, deal with my kids, deal with my husband, write, and fucking do this shit, I ain't gonna have energy for anything else. So it's learning about that's the main thing that I've been struggling with now, is learning how to manage my energy in a way that's conducive to me. And this is just using the shit that I learned because I have a master's in psychology. Because I figured that at some point in time I probably was going to have health insurance, so I needed to know what questions to ask myself and what coping mechanisms I needed to deal with and apply them motherfuckers to myself. But I'm always open to new information, so as soon as I can afford to go to a therapist, I damn sure will. That is beyond a shadow of a doubt, because this. Anyway, I've rambled for 13 minutes and I haven't really said much of anything aside from the fact that I'm depressed and I don't feel like doing a lot. But that is why I am a Volt. So I am trying something new and not being a Volt and not giving a fuck about what people think about what this is going to be said, and not trying to plan everything so that it comes out perfect. So yeah. The next videos are probably going to be a little bit more cohesive now that I've gotten this out, because I had to get this out because you needed to see that I needed you to see that I am not together in any way, shape, or form. Because I get a lot of people that comment on my shit. I'm like, oh, you're so great. You're so great. You're so great. And I'm like, really, me? You're talking about me? You know what goes on up here? And I needed you to see that, because as I do the things that I know I'm going to do because I'm stubborn enough to do them, I need you to know that I'm human first, that I ramble just like you do, that I call myself stupid in the mirror sometimes just like you do, that I bleed just like you do, that I don't feel like cleaning most days, don't feel like getting up out the bed. I need you to know that I am human first, because something happens when people reach a certain level of success. People forget that they're human and they think that it's special. It's nothing fucking special. We're just stubborn enough to do it. We're not chosen. We're not chosen ones. None of that. We were just stubborn enough to keep going no matter what. And one thing about me, even with the depression, even with the anxiety, even with everything that I've faced, because I am my mother's child, I will not lose. I cannot lose. I refuse to. Every win, every loss is a lesson that I turn into a win in some way, shape, or form. But that don't mean that I didn't have to battle against my fucking brain every goddamn day. That didn't mean that I didn't have to dig into my therapist bag every fucking day so that I can survive. Right? Because I'm sniffling because I want to cry right now. Yeah. So I need you to know that I'm not perfect. I am a human being. So when I tell you to do the things that I tell you to do, I'm telling you because you're just like me and I'm just like you. There's no difference between us. So it's terrible that it took me 15 minutes to admit that shit, but you had to see it to believe it. So there's that. There's the makings of me. I'll probably give you a little bit more background information about my family and what I've been through, but I actually feel better now that I've gotten that out, so you know where I'm coming from when I give you the information that I'm giving you. It's not just coming from random thoughts. These are things that I think about on a regular basis, and these are tools that I use on a regular basis to be able to get out of bed, to be able to do the things that I do. So yeah, this video is brought to you by Gary Goldman's The Great Depression. If you got HBO Max, which I'm sure you do at some point in time, go ahead and watch it, because it's very helpful, especially for people like me with severe anxiety and depression. Seeing somebody be able to be better while they're going through it, it helps. Now, if you excuse me, I'm going to go to bed. And I'm also going to go take my thyroid medication so I can feel a little bit better. That can also contribute to me feeling a little better. So, deuces.